Call of Duty and Battlefield. These two franchises have gone head-to-head for years, especially during the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era. An era that is not only most iconic to me and other players growing up at the time, but the franchises themselves. The two fandoms would always argue which was better, or which one was more realistic, the whole nine. And I'm taking y'all back to prime YouTube days. They used to do rap battles and everything. Don't even get me started on the console war, but that's a video for another day. But year after year, the companies continue to release strong competitive titles, and it seemed like both showed no signs of stopping. Up until DICE released Battlefield 5, which many argued fell short in quality to its predecessor, Battlefield 1. Then as we all know, they soon later teased Battlefield 2042, DICE's first futuristic Battlefield. They even went as far to make popular references to the famous Jet RPG clip, signaling to fans that the fall-off is over. Fans, you can come back. But unfortunately, the community didn't react well to the game's seemingly rushed and buggy launch. And you know what? Rightfully so. Another main reason Battlefield 2042 didn't go as well as planned is the bad map design, which hurt flow and pacing. And I definitely felt this in the beta when I played, as well as losing the whole serious feel to their games because the game abandoned the classic system for hero-based specialists. My guess is they were trying to compete with games like Apex Legends at the time was still going, Fortnite was still climbing, and of course Call of Duty. So the classic case of identity crisis and trying to ride waves to get themselves back on track. Even with Call of Duty's massive boost in player retention and microtransactions, it really felt like Call of Duty found the in real life infinite money glitch. But in reality, they were building up the very thing that would later take them down and the company right along with it. The SBMM EOMM controversy. Skill-based matchmaking and engagement-optimized matchmaking. Both are algorithms used by Call of Duty that make sure you win, but also make sure that you don't win too much. Does that sound familiar to you? The first thing you probably thought of was a casino, or maybe because that's exactly what it is. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of when Call of Duty actually started to collapse, I want you to think of what a casino looks like. Flashing lights, colorful signs, and potential rewards. Ever since Modern Warfare 2019, you load up Call of Duty and you're instantly met with advertisements for the shop everywhere you go. And look, I'm not bashing any company for advertising their product, but it'll make sense soon if you stick around. Really keep in mind how much they push microtransactions, as it'll be very important to know later. Now let's talk about packet loss. Packet loss is player lag that is supposed to make up for when players experience connection issues. But with EOMM, they essentially weaponize this against their own players. Now instead, they also use this to be able to control engagement. And you know how gamers are. We like to blame lag all the time. So they definitely knew that this would be hard to catch on to. Packet loss will begin to happen more often if a player is being seen as winning too much, and actively makes the game work against you by making you lag the moment you get into a gunfight. Goes hand in hand with enemies becoming bullet sponges, while you on the other hand are easier to kill. And now that we realize this, we can conclude that EOMM ain't just there for skill matchmaking. It's also there to control your frustration levels. It's literally designed to adjust how much damage you both deal and receive, or even how close the matches become. I remember Blame Truth was talking about it around the time the new MW2 came out. When I was playing it, I didn't realize until he pointed it out. I began noticing the matches I played started as bot lobby blowouts, then quickly turns into an absolute sweatfest the next game. So already a reoccurring theme is, you have one good game, you're playing against kids that think he's the next Optic Scumpy. Now this is where the in-game ads for microtransactions come in. They immediately want to entice you into buying something, naturally, but whenever you buy something, the game only seems to become easier. Almost like the system saw that and decides to let you feel like you're winning, and all you really did was fall right into their trap. Hand in hand with microtransactions, the likes of FOMO and dopamine are also the main targets. They know you're not having fun losing. When the system sees that, it flips a switch. Time to let this player start winning and start having fun, initiating the loop they tossed us into in the first place. It's almost exactly like a casino, but they know exactly who's playing and when you'll give up or when you'll buy a new item from the shop based off previous patterns. which is an absolute goldmine of a recipe, especially when there are plenty of players with ADHD minds. The FOMO and dopamine are designed to get players to spend money impulsively and keep them coming back for more. And this isn't just speculation here. Activision actually holds a patent for everything that we're talking about. The Battlefield 6 beta reception. The Battlefield 6 beta has already had a massive turnout, upwards of 318,000 concurrent players on Steam at its peak. Around 52,000 players were already queued up before the beta even went live. Since Call of Duty started their own launcher and have the power to hide live player counts, their numbers are harder to track. Luckily for us, Steam displays their own numbers that could also suggest Call of Duty is finally on the decline. COD overall had around 83,000 concurrent players. NW3, 3.7k. We began to start seeing leaked Battlefield 6 gameplay earlier this year, and fans alike were immediately halted with skepticisms. While the game was in its alpha stages, gamers were trying to figure out what route BF6 was going in. Is it going to be another case of developers whipping up another potential money grab, or finally a title with effort and identity to it? People saw boots on the ground, uniformed soldiers, large-scale environment destruction, just like the classic Battlefields. And no crazy movement nonsense either. The leaks and trailer for Battlefield 6 gave the FPS community some real hope, and it shows in the numbers, as numbers don't lie. The Warzone 3 Verdansk fail. More recently, Call of Duty's player count has been dropping. In strong effort to reignite the infinite money glitch, they once again began teasing the return of the 2019 Warzone map, Verdansk. They came out with a well-made trailer to hype the return of the OG map, but the COD community, yeah, they weren't having that. This is when they showed their hand. They saw the player counts, and once they realized their Vegas slot machine system isn't doing all the work anymore, they tried to pull their fan base back by baiting their players' nostalgia. Random collabs with adding Stan Smith and his alien Roger to Beavis and Butthead. From here on, each content drop slowly starts to feel more and more desperate as Activision seems to have officially lost touch with its very loyal fan base. Hopefully soon, AAA developers get the message and make an example out of Call of Duty, because greed is never a good look. Now this is hilarious because that's exactly what Call of Duty is doing to its fans, biting the hands that feed them. Activision recently took a stand by saying, look, we're not worried about Battlefield 6 because Call of Duty is just too big to fail, but without fans to play the game, it surely will. This is the same company that had to rely on Black Ops 6 being on the Game Pass to boost its player count. But they say they've got it all figured out. You know what? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alright fellow gamers, thanks for joining me, and if you want to, drop a like. Maybe consider subscribing? I don't know, I might just hand deliver a honey bun straight to your door if you hit sub. Peace.